Hello guys, it's Maverick Shooters and welcome to the replay analysis of our 502 finals in which I played in. The format is SPOU best of 3, so the first to 2 wins the series and gets the 500 since it's winner takes all. My opponent is unnamed who played in the World Cup Pokemon for France, and before I begin with this analysis of the series, please join the Discord server of this tournament so that you guys can play in its future editions as well. And if you do join, let them know that I sent you there. The link of the server is in the description. And now let's begin with the analysis. Okay, start of the series, I decided to load my favorite team of this generation. I recently did a video on it, so you guys can check it out if you want to. For the lead, I don't see any poison type on his team, and Glimmer is my usual lead anyway, so I do the brainless lead of that. He decides to lead Tinglu. Over here, I decide to model spin to get the chip going because Tinglu is impossible to take down otherwise. He decides to Earthquake and break my sash, but I can make Toxic Debris Poison Spikes here, or Toxic Spikes. Then over here, I don't think he's gonna rocks because I can spike and then I can keep on mortal spinning. If he goes Glimora, he has to risk a earth power, which he doesn't know if I have it or not. I don't have it, but he doesn't know it, and he wouldn't want his Goldengo taking damage so early for no reason. So I just thought he might whirlwind, he might earthquake, because earthquake doesn't really have any drawbacks because at some point Cinderace will get the code change off. So it's actually more beneficial for him if he gets the Glimora gone, so he can keep toxic spikes on me forever. And I know that, so I go to Enamorous. This is basically a predict on Earthquake, and this is just me saying I don't think you're gonna rocks here. He does a super predict and goes to the Stone Edge. It makes sense because it still does the same thing as Earthquake. It kills Glimora off and it covers Enamorous. It's 80%, but it's or whatever. Doesn't really matter. It's Tinglu. It doesn't die to anything anyways, and he gets me, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Thankfully, with max HP, I get to live this. Without max HP in Amorous, I wouldn't have lived this. Yeah. So then over here, I decide I'm gonna Earth Power, predicting Cinderace because he'll most likely want to get rid of the Toxic Spikes, which are up already. I know you guys can't see it, but it's up. And yeah, so I predict Cinderace and I do get it. Over here, I know he's 100% code changing because if you let this die, he won't get the toxic spikes off forever, and this is the only turn he most likely gets it. If he decides to kill it, I can go into something that revenges it and he won't get another chance. Okay, so now Cinderace is gone. I'm up on the lead. I still have my Glimora alive. My Enamorous is at 30%, so you can get a sub up now. And yeah, over here I decided to go Enamorous, absorb the T-Spikes, and if he decided to Earthquake, I would get T-Spike up again. Over here he makes a smart play. He decides to rocks to kill Glimora off if it switches out again, so it has to stay in. Then it has to go into Goldengo, predicting the Mortal Spin, which is a good play again. I spike and he reveals to be not Scarf, so I was thinking probably Bulky. He wasn't Airballoon either, so I think he might be Cold Cloak. Since my Enamorous heal with leftovers, it can take rocks now and can come in. I mainly decided to go into this to get some chip on Goldengo because I don't know it's bulky or it's what, and I don't want to risk anything on my team to die. I thought Enamorous was sackable because it's like 5% after rocks and it's not really needed anymore. So I decided to give damage on Goldengo for letting Enamorous die. Then I go into Baxcalibur, I think, yeah. Because over here I don't want to go to Walking Wake. I think it's a win con for me, and his Tinglu is still at 82%, so he can whirlwind me out anytime. So I'd probably like to save Walking Wake. King Gambit at the end game looks very good if I can get the Dauntless Shield of Zamazenta off. For Iron Valiant, I want to keep his booster energy for Zamazenta. So I just thought Baxcalibur would be the best choice. And Glaive Rush doesn't have any switch-ins anyways here. So he decides to go Landorus here on the backs because he gets Intimidate. He's most likely max defense, max HP, Rocky Helmet. And I get my Life Orb damage. But even with an Intimidate, I can still kill with Ice Shard. And that's Landorus gone. So now the score is 2-2. He decides to go into Zamazenta here. Over here, I'm a bit skeptical or what set it is. He might be Iron Defense Body Press, he might be Choice Bandit, he might be Expert Belt, he might be Lumberry, I don't know. But I just think staying with Baxcalibur is fine because I don't really need it anymore. It can only take like one hit after switching out and coming back in due to rocks and Life Orb. So I just thought let it die, and if it decides to set up, I can keep on Glaive Rushing and get some damage off. and he doesn't know that my Iron Valent has Moonblast or not, so he most likely wouldn't want to start setting up for no reason. Because he wants to keep his Dodge Terra for Walking Wake because it's in winning position now, so he can't really Terra against Iron Valent with his Zamazenta. So he most likely has to attack here. He wills to be Choice Banded, or I would later know it was Expert Belt or Lumberry. It was not locked, but I thought it was locked here with the with the close combat kill. So over here I decided to go into Iron Valiant because that's the only thing that can take a Choice Banded close combat, and it's a free SD for me. He decides to go Goldengo because he just wants to sack it. I SD, I knock. Then he will most likely go into Skeletos because that's the only thing that can take a hit and is unaware. He decides to Terra Water. I knew he would Terra into something. He obviously isn't gonna stay neutral on a knockoff Iron Valiant. So I decided to Spirit Break for whatever he Terras into, because he may turn into Fairy, he may turn into Water, and Spirit Break is neutral versus both. It also gets its special attack lower for Torch Song. So like if it decides to Torch Song, he gets neutral again. This is good for Iron. This is good for King Gambit in case it's max speed or the 200 speed set. So my King Gambit can live even without Terra. And yeah, I Spirit Break. Over here he used to be Wisp. Then I should have knocked here, but I decided to close combat. My thought process was try to get some damage off, and if it decides to Hex here, that'll be huge damage for me. But in hindsight, I should have knocked here to get rid of the item, but I did not know its item, to be honest. It took rocks, it didn't show leftovers. My prediction is this might be Cold Cloak, and this Goldengo revealed to be Choice Specs. So it makes sense this might be Cold Cloak because this team loses to Garganacl any otherwise. So yeah, I probably should have knocked, but over there I was just thinking I want some damage and I was just predicting this to be Cold Cloak. So I do the CC, he decides to slack off. So over here now I decide to switch out into Walking Wake because it resists the Torch Song by 4, and Hex will basically do no damage anyways because it's -1 special attack. He decides to slack off again to be sure, to be at full. Over here I go Walking Wake, I Dragon Pulse because Surf was arrested otherwise. Over here I make a risky play. I see that his Tinglu is most likely offensive with the damage of Stone Edge. It has Earthquake, it most likely has Hazards, or it has Heavy Slam. It mostly also runs Ruination on these type of sets, or Protect. I don't think it's Whirlwind, and I know that Zamazenta is still there. Now my Valiant's booster is gone, it's burnt, and Zamazenta is looking mad scary. So I only have one out left that I have to Agility here and hope it doesn't Whirlwind. If it's Whirlwind, it gets really rough. I may still win, because if I get Whirlwind into it with something like Iron Valiant, I can CC, I can kill this off. If it has to go Skeletos, I just repeat the process of going into Walking Wake. And yeah, if it goes into Zamazenta, I think Walking Wake can live two CCs. If it doesn't, it's probably Jover. But yeah, the basic thing is it's very rough for me to win if it has Whirlwind. But if it doesn't have Whirlwind, I have chances, and I just don't think he has Whirlwind here. So I decide to Agility to outspeed Zamazenta, and he does reveal Earthquake offensive, no Whirlwind. So I got my Agility off. Now I can kill that Tinglu. Now he decides to go into Zamazenta because he probably thought that he wants Skeletos at full for King Gambit and to still deal with Iron Valiant, because if his Zamazenta was choice locked, it wasn't. I don't know what he was thinking, to be honest. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong. It was choice banded, I don't remember. But yeah, over here he decides to go into Zamazenta. I personally would have gone into Skeletos, but it makes sense for him. I think he probably didn't want any crit fishing because, like, if I get a crit Dragon Pulse here, let's say if I get a crit Dragon Pulse, he decides to Hex. It obviously won't kill because it's not statist, and then I can kill the Skeletos off. That allows Iron Valiant opened up because Spirit Break, and him taking like CC damage, CC -1. That allows Sucker to kill probably. But to be honest, if I crit this, it's probably Jover too. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know what I'm seeing anymore either. Anyways, oh yeah, I see that Surf doesn't kill, so I decide to Terra Water. because Terra Water does kill, and that's Zamazenta gone. That's a huge worry of the game gone. Now as only Skyders is left, I just spam Dragon Pulse continuously. He decides to Hex to get some chip going. Now he'll slack off till this dies, and I'll continue Dragon Pulse to crit fish. Okay, some Dragon Pulses later, my Suicune is dead. He's at 86%. He has one slack off left. I decided to go into King Gambit because I calced with the Dragon Pulse damage I'm doing, he's max speed, so he doesn't have the speed torch speed King Gambit, and I'm max speed black glasses King Gambit, and I'm at Fallen Fire, so I'll do mad damage to it, and he can't kill me with even a crit Torch Song, I think. So yeah, and if he crit the Torch Song, I can go into Iron Variant and CC and kill it. So I decided to kowtow. I do 74. He wisps, and I kowtow again, and I win. So that's game 1-1. That's something. But yeah, I won the game 1. Now, if I win the next game, I'll win the $500. So I'm a bit too hyped right now, and a bit too excited as well. So let's see what happened game 2. Okay, so for game 2, I decided to load stall. I know boo and stuff, but I just thought it might be safe here. I was way too hyped. I might fuck up HOT my load, because if I win this I get $500, and I wanted to play it safe. I had even high voltage, the stall god, helped me with how the Steam functions an hour before the battle. We did a lot of test games for me to understand how the Steam functions, and for my opponent I loaded into Super Shit MU. My opponent has knockoff Meowscarada. If it's Choice Bandit, the only way I can deal with it is Alomola, because Covenite runs out of Roost PP very fast against knockoff Meowscarada. Then Baxcalibur, if it's SD Life Orb, the only way to deal with it is shuffling between Alomola, Covenite and Dondozo, and even then it's a very tough thing to do. Then my opponent has King Gambit. If it's Shardak, only single way to handle it is Terra fighting Dondozo, so I can't Terra anything else, and I have to save this Dondozo till I know the King Gambit is Terra Dark or it is not. Then I face Volcanion. If it's Specs or Boots, only single way I can deal with it is Blissey, and he can try to Steam Eruption, Burn or Flamethrower, or go for Earth Power Spidef drops, and basically just his whole goal will be to get rid of my softball PP, because after that Volcanion just solos, and all together pair that with Slowking with Future Sight. Only single way I can deal with it is Blissey, so my Blissey has Protect. So on the Future Sight turns, I Protect. Future Sight still goes to Protect, but it's like 10%. But the thing is that adds up, and that forces me to use Softball soon. This allows Volcanion to open up, and yeah, overall Super Shit MU, can't do much. And this game went on for 100+ turns. I don't want to bore you with like how the game went and have this video be 2 hours long, so I'll just sum it up for you. Overall, he played extremely well. He uses Meowscarada to the max potential. He was doubling and stuff, and he was just spamming knock everywhere. Only way I could deal with it is Terra Mola, but I have to keep Terra on Dondozo for King Gambit. He was also using Future Sight very well, and his Volcanion. Overall, he forced me into a situation at the end where I had to go Blissey, and I had to have a 50-50. If Meowscarada stays in or he doesn't, I think he might stay in and U-turn. So I decide to Seismic Toss, but he knocks my Blissey, and with Rocks Up, it's impossible to deal with Volcanion, and I lose. Overall, this game, I think it was played fine, but I think I could have played much better. If you guys see, this Cloaking doesn't have boots. So my Blissey with Seismic Toss and my Covenant with Braybird had immense potential to just force progress non-stop, and I do realize it, but I realized it way too late, and by then the game was in a dire situation. And yeah, and at the end he did turn out to be Terra Dark King Gambit after we discussed playing this game, and yeah, so even if I Terraflied the Alomola against the Meowscarada, it wouldn't have helped, because then I wouldn't have had Terra Dondozo for King Gambit. It was a pretty lost situation. Only way I could have forced progress, which I had a very good way to, was Covenant and Blissey, but I realized it too long, and that's it. So that's game 2. I lost. That's unfortunate. I got really sad after the super hype, but it is what it is. Now it comes down to game 3. Okay, so for the third and final game on which the Dollar 500 relies on, I decided to load a team built by Lily. She used in WCOP, and I thought it was fine. So I decided to load it. My opponent loaded some pretty balancy type team. Looks pretty standard. And over here, I honestly thought I might win this looking at the MU, because I just thought this doesn't really threaten me much. If it's booster Val, I have Fizdef Cloaking, so I can handle it, and rest of the stuff doesn't really threaten me. So yeah, with that in mind, for preview, I thought Dragonite might have troubles because he has Rotom Wash and Landorus, and if it's defensive Landorus with Rocky Helmet and Intimidate, and he has Wisp Cinderace, overall Dragonite doesn't really have good time. This Covenite could be good because it has Body Press that Landorus can't touch it. Ace can touch it, but Ace can't come in. And only thing that comes in is Slowking, because Val wouldn't want to waste his booster energy, and I can U-turn on Slowking into Meowscarada. That was my thought process. My Slowking, I just wanted for Iron Valiant and Cinderace, since the Slowking is mostly Fizdef, some Spidef. I can handle Cinderace. The Baxcalibur looks broken as always. It destroys every balanced team there is, and this was no exception. Task was iffy, but it does toss things, and Meowscarada looked incredible here with Flower Trick, Knockoff, U-turn. It just looks unstoppable outside the booster energy and Valiant. So with that, I decided to lead my Slowking. The reason was, if he is King Gambit, I can go into my Great Tusk, or I can go into Covenite. If he decides to lead Landorus, I can once again go to Covenite. What I don't want to allow is a Rotom Wash lead or his own opposing Slowking lead, because Rotom Wash gets a free Wisp. Now I don't really have Wisp with switch in, and I want to give Rotom Wash free U-turn momentum on the first turn. Now obviously, if I go into Covenite, he can U-turn, and then he can go into Rotom Wash, and then I go into Slowking, and it's the same situation. But that's what I thought. It might not have been the best lead, I think, now looking back at it, but that's what I decided to lead. So Eevee's Landorus, not a good lead for me. I go into Covenite. He can Rocks or he can U-turn. He decides to Rocks. I don't really run Defog on Covenite in this meta. I don't think I've ever ran Defog on this Covenite outside like stall teams, because I just think it's trash. It can't do anything. So I on this set it's Roost, Body Press, Iron Defense, and U-turn. So here I obviously decide to U-turn. He decides to go into Rotom Wash. I'll go into Meowscarada because it resists its Volt Switch and Hydro Pump, and I can get the Flower Trick off and damage it. He won't want to stay in because Rotom Wash is pretty valuable here. So I get the Flower Trick, I see the Landorus damage, and immediately know it's very very defensive with Rocky Helmet. It's just like max defense, max HP. I go into Great Tusk with because I predicted him to U-turn. He obviously would U-turn against Meowscarada. He goes into Rotom Wash. I decided to go into Slowking because that's the only way I can handle Rotom Wash. And over here, he reveals Trick. So that's very problematic because now my Slowking is pretty much just gone. He even gets a Thunder Wave off. Now, for ways I could have prevented it, honestly none. I had no way of knowing if it was Scarf Rotom Wash, and I couldn't really go into anything else. I mean, you could say I could go into Boots Baxcalibur or Boots Dragonite, but he can obviously Wisp too, and he could have Volt Switch there as well. So yeah, getting tricked by the Rotom Wash was inevitable, which sucks, but it is what it is. But Thunder Wave is even worse. He's even going for the hacks, but what can you say? I decided to chilly out into my Meowscarada again because now I'm obviously faster on 100%, and knowing it's offensive, I know the Flower Trick kills him. So I decided to just click Flower Trick here. Or do I click Knockoff? Oh, I click Knockoff, okay. So what I might have been thinking was that Flower Trick obviously kills this. He would most likely go into Landorus or the Cinderace, and Knockoff is best because Knockoff will 2-hit KO Cinderace, as it does here. I mean, it's not a perfect 2-hit KO, it's a roll, but yeah, whatever. Knowing it's a roll, I decided to U-turn because I don't want to risk my Meowscarada. It looks incredible here. I go into my user Slowking now. It can live a Pyro into Pyro. And yeah, it's choice scarf, so it's not any use for him. I just use it for chilly reception. He goes into Landers. I go into Great Tusk, preventing an Earthquake or a U-turn. He does decide to Earthquake. Over here, over there I have some options. I can decide to Ice Spin or I can decide to Rapid Spin. But I'll take a lot of damage with Grass Knot because most of the landers do run Grass Knot. So I decide to make a better play. I think he would either switch out or he will Grass Knot, and both of those are covered by Meowscarada. So I go into Meowscarada and he decides to Grass Knot, so that works out perfectly. But now comes the problem. Will he stay in or will he not? Because he can handle Meowscarada with just staying and U-turning and killing it. So he may stay in, he may stay out. I just predict that he would not like to switch in here. Or should I say, he won't like to stay in because he still has King Gambit as well. And he still has his Cinderace or whatever. So yeah, I decided to go into Great Tusk. But that is an extremely bad play. I obviously, after getting the Grass Knot off, I should have gone into Covenite or I should have gone into Slowking, because over here he can do whatever but I predict he will U-turn, and going into Tusk helps with the U-turn. But the problem is that it allows an Rotom Wash to click Volt Switch again. Now obviously he can predict the Rotom Wash with Volt Switch and Hydro Pump, but yeah. What the better play should have been was Covenite or Slowking, because I just did this whole sequence of Grass Knot back into Tusk to force out Landers because he's gonna U-turn there, and this run doesn't really help with anything because that allows him Rotom Wash again. So yeah, he gets the U-turn, which is what I predicted, but as I said, Rotom Wash is in. This doesn't really help with anything now because I'm once again forced into a 50-50. And over here I decided to get the spin off because I just thought if I get in this loop, my Mons is starting a lot of damage because now I no longer have Boots Slowking. My Conan isn't Boots, and this Meowscarada, while it's Boots, the overall loop pressure of Volt Switching and U-turning will eventually cost me something. So I just decided to get the Rabbit Spin off. Over here, most of the people generally decide to click Volt Switch. Because for a simple reason, no one wants to stay in with the Tusk, and knowing he has King Gambit and my Tusk looks pretty good here, I just thought he would likely predict that I don't want to sack this and he will try to Volt Switch. But lo and behold, he clicks the Hydro Pump and I'm dead. So obviously this was an absolute dog shit play by me. But in my thought process, I just thought he'll Volt Switch, he could miss the Hydro Pump, and I want to get the rocks off. So I can't really that's my thought process, but obviously I can't justify making this play. Obviously should have gone into Slowking. Obviously Hydro Pump didn't do it kill me. I can take the Volt Switch and switch out. But yeah, it is what it is. I sagged my Great Tusk, miserable play. But not all people are perfect. Sometimes you make misplays and you just can learn from it, and I learned from it. Not sack my important ones for no reason, even though like the thought process is I know it's important, he knows he's important, so he'll know that I'll switch it out, and so he'll try to make the play for the Mon that switches out. But he makes a better play knowing that's important, so he'll just kill it. And if I decide to go into Slowking, he'll just Volt Switch the next turn into King Gambit, which yeah. Oh, by the way, important thing, my Slowking has Focus Blast for King Gambit. So if I can predict the King Gambit, that's it gone. Anyways, my greatest is gone. I'm sad now. He goes into his Cinderace to sack it. I Flower Trick and kill it. Now he goes into Landorus. Now another tough situation. So over here, I obviously know that if I Flower Trick, I won't kill it, and if he U-turns, he'll kill me back. But the problem is, if I go into Covenite on the U-turn, he'll go back into Rotom Wash, then he'll Volt Switch on my Slowking, back into Landorus, and it's an infinite loop of me taking rocks and the Covenite dying. So I can't really do anything about that. So I just thought that he has King Gambit, so Meowscarada isn't going to do much anyways. And I want this Landorus chip so that it helps with my Dragonite, because now I know it's offensive Rotom Wash and it doesn't have Wisp. And if I get this Landorus chipped, my Dragonite is very much open to sweep, and it also allows Baxcalibur for some damage later. So over here I decided to Flower Trick. In hindsight, I probably could have tried for a Covenant into Slowking and try to make a play with one of my defensive mons instead of using my offensive mon for some leverage. But that's hindsight. If I was playing this, I probably would have still made the same play because I still know that King Gambit walls this infinitely. So yeah. I click Flower Trick, he clicks U-turn, my Masquerade is dead, he goes into Iron Valent. Now over here, I don't see the booster. I just simply predicted Scarf because his team doesn't really have any special speed control, and he probably should have speed control, so I just predicted Scarf. And I just click Chili here because it's obvious. He goes into King Gambit. I go into Covenant. He knows I have body press, so he'll switch out. And if he does Terra, it's okay because I'm playing U-turn and I can play according to the Terra. Oh, actually, I click body press. That makes sense, but it's not really that good a play because if he Terras and gets a SD off, that's very very bad for me. And I should have clicked U-turn there. Yeah, because he doesn't want to stain with King Gambit over there. There's literally no reason to. And even if he does, I can U-turn into something like, let's say, my D-Knight, and he doesn't know if I'm Encore or not. If I go U-turn into D-Knight hard as his King Gambit SDs, he can probably predict that my D-Knight is Encore and he might switch out. So I can still force it out like that. And he doesn't know if my Baxcalibur is banded yet or not. So he doesn't want to give it a free switch in. So yeah. Overall, clicking U-turn was a better play here. Body press, while makes sense, actually wasn't a good play. It loses me all the momentum and it gives him back momentum because now we can click Volt Switch with Rotom Bosch again. So over here, I obviously have to switch out. Over here, I go into Baxcalibur mid-ground because Snow is up, so I have my defense boost. And yeah, I don't want to allow in Landorus because I don't want to get in a Volt Turn loop. And I just want to say, okay, bring in Scarf Iron Valent instead. I'll go into Slowking and I'll chill out and get my momentum back. So he Volt Switches out, he goes into Iron Valiant. I go into my Slowking to get the momentum back. And over here, I realize the sad truth. He's a Specs, Terra Fairy, Iron Valiant. It isn't Scarf. His team didn't have speed control and I sacked my Masquerade, which was faster than everything. So, as I said, as a hindsight play, that Masquerade looked incredible now. It could have pressured him insanely well. It could have threatened to kill everything. Obviously, it can't defeat King Gambit easily, but it can knock King Gambit, it can U-turn on King Gambit, and it can force momentum into me to allow my Baxcalibur to click Glaive Rush and my Dragonite allowing setup opportunities. But that's hindsight play. Obviously, I predicted as Booster or Scarf, so I sacked Masquerade. Now that I see this, I'm in a very tough position because my Slowking doesn't have Slack Off, and even if it has Slack Off, it's choice Scarfed and I'm taking rocks. My both Baxcalibur and Dragonite are Dragon types, so obviously they die, and my Covenant is Fizz Def. But fortunately, with leftovers, my Covenant can live 2 Moon Blasts every time. Over here, I click Sludge Bomb on the Iron Island, which I won't say is a bad play because let's say he predicts me to do some chilly out or something and he stays in with Moonblast. I lose him on guaranteed, but honestly, I should have Focus Blasted here because once again, this is a hindsight play. He can go into Slowking here as well instead of King Gambit and be safe from everything. But I have to make the risky plays, which gave me huge reward. I don't have to consider risk anymore because I'm in a very, very losing position now. So I think I should probably have Focus Blasted here. Obviously, I can say that like in a sense that I see that King Gambit is here, so I should have obviously Focus Blasted. But even if he had stayed in, I think it's fine. I sack him on, I go back into Slowking, and I can Sludge Bomb late again or Chilly out. And I'm in a losing position right now. So I have to make the high risk play, I have to make the high risk, high reward play. But yeah, I decided to Sludge Bomb. It's not a bad play. Focus Blast was probably a better play, it's not even a better play, it's just more rewarding play. I go back into Covenant, he Kowtows, I'm forced into Roost. It allows him free Rotom Wash or free Iron Valiant. Over here, I probably think he should have gone into Rotom Wash because he knows I'm forced into Roosting here, and he can just Volt Switch, gain back momentum because I either have to go back Scalab or I either have to go Slowking. If I go Slowking, he goes into Landorus, and if I go back Scalibur, he goes into Iron Valiant. So, and he doesn't know if I'm Brave Bird or not. If I Brave Birded there, it might be in. If I Brave Bird in crit, it might be in E-Speed range from D-Knight, and that's a super bad position for him. So I don't agree with this Iron Valiant play. I think he should have gone Rotom Wash because it doesn't die to Body Press and it gains some momentum, and he knows that I'm gonna Roost here. So yeah, I go into Slowking, predicting that Moonblast because I live 2 hits. Over here, he gets a special attack drop. I'm sad, and I click the Focus Blast. Over here, Chili would have helped me with momentum, but I saw him going to King Gambit last time. I don't have really any reason for me to believe that he's not gonna go King Gambit again. So I just Focus Blast. I still agree with this play even though it didn't work out. And yeah, I go back into Covenant. Slowking can't really touch this unless it's Flamethrower. So yeah, it can Future Sight, it can Chili out. I'll U-turn back into I go into back Scalibur. Okay, so what I might be thinking of during the situation was he's Future Sighted, he's gonna Chili out, and then he'll go into something like Landorus or something. So if I go back Scalibur, it's boots, I get the Snow Defense boost, so that helps me. But obviously that doesn't really help with anything because it allows an Iron Valiant to Moonblast again. Now, if my back Scalibur had Terra Poison, it wouldn't have worked out either because he has Future Sight up. So overall, I don't know what I was thinking with that U-turn. I should have gone into Slowking because if that allows an Landorus, I still have my Covenant which walls Landorus, and if he goes into Covenant, I can still go in. If he goes into King Gambit, I can still go into my Covenant because it takes Kowtow into Future Sight, and yeah. Overall, not that good a play for me to go into backs. It doesn't really help me with anything. Obviously, he can Moonblast here. It's a roll. If he gets 33%, my Slowking is dead. But he has Future Sight, I forgot about that. And with that, my Slowking was basically very low. It couldn't heal anymore. And I had to sack Slowking. Now here, I go into Covenant to just Roost PP and stall the Moonblast out a bit and gain some health because with leftovers, I heal more than he damages me. So I'm just trying to get back to full, and then I can Iron Defense up and try to go for a Covenant sweep. I know it sounds a bit ridiculous to go for a sweep here against a 5 vs 1 when he has Slowking, Rotom Wash, and Valiant. But over here, if I Iron Defense to +4, the Covenant sweep is very much possibilistic. So I just go for it. Iron Defense, he Thunder Waves, I click Body Press, yeah. Over here, that Body Press was probably a bad play by me as well, because if I Cal, that Body Press won't kill, I would have Iron Defense again, because it doesn't. I don't really need damage on Rotom Wash anymore. This is my only last chance, I think. Actually, no. Think about it again. Body Press was the correct play. I need damage on Rotom Wash for my Dragonite. Yeah. So actually, this was the correct play, and him going for Thunder Wave also makes sense. He's gonna try to go for the Moonblast spam again soon because he knows the set now, and with Para he's gonna get it eventually, and that will be game. So makes sense for him to go for Thunder Wave. And if he can't, he lives, that makes perfect sense. And yeah, my Body Press also makes perfect sense because I need him to get low for Dragonite. So overall, my only chance remaining is to try for a Covenant sweep, but I most likely won't get it now because I'm Thunder Waved. So I'll try to go for a position where my Dragonite can set up to +2 something, and if I get +2, I can maybe win. Though +2 Earthquake doesn't kill Iron Valiant. That's something to note. So I would need some chip on Iron Valiant as well. Over here he goes Landorus, but the Intimidate doesn't help with anything. My attacking move is defense. He U-turns into slow king. I body press. Obviously, his squad racer won't do much, but slow king can't do anything back either, so I just iron defense. He future sights, he chilies. He's gonna cycle Rotom Wash plus slow king and try to fish for paras with future sight and run through my roost PP. I'm just gonna continue to iron defense, body press, try to not get parried, and try to chip the slow king down. So yeah, this continues for a few times over here. I finally see that he got the future sight off. He has done it every time, so he's gonna future sight here as well. That allows me a free turn to go into Dragonite, because I don't really see any other remaining way for me to go into Dragonite, because every time he goes Rotom Wash, he volt switches, and yeah, he's future sighting here, because next turn he'll chilly out. That won't help again, because he can go into Iron Valiant and Moonblast. So this is the only turn I'll get for Dragonite to set up, and I'm seeing that my Covenant is almost out of Roost PP, and I won't get anything going with Covenant anymore. So this is my only chance. I U-turn, I go into Dragonite, and I click Dragon Dance as he goes into Landorus. That's a good play because he wants the Intimidate, and I probably don't even kill it right now, but he can't touch my Dragonite, so I DD up again. I get future sighted, but that's alright. Now over here, he makes a good play. He purposely goes into Iron Valiant to force the situation that I have to click Earthquake there. Because if I click a Earthquake and I get a crit, that's probably game, because I have Roost on this Dragonite and his Landorus can't touch me. So I'll probably just DD and Roost on Dragonite. His Rotom Wash is in range and I can Earthquake the Slowking and King Gambit. So that's a good play by him, from going into Landorus to Intimidate, then going into Iron Valiant to force me to Earthquake and go for a crit. In which turn, he can go into Landorus again. It's immune to Earthquake and it gets an Intimidate off. And now I'm a bit more chubbed. So over here, I decide to Roost, but that is a bad play again. I know this might sound a bit whack, that at 26% it's a bad play to Roost, but I have to keep on Dragon Dancing, because I have to keep the hope of me critting his Iron Valiant with the Earthquake alive. If I'm not at +1, he can go into Iron Valiant without any risk and click Moonblast. So roosting there was a bad play. I should have clicked Dragon Dance, and when he goes into Iron Valiant, there was a 50-50 of me roosting or me clicking Dragon Dance again or whatever. But yeah, it's not even 50-50. It's basically just him playing in case he gets crit by Earthquake. So will he go into Landorus again, or will he just stay in hoping that I won't crit? But overall, I have to click Dragon Dance here, and I decide to click Roost instead, which is a bad play. And as you can see, that allows an Iron Valiant again, and now get the Earthquake damage off as 40%. Crit didn't kill obviously, and now he gets the Moonblast off. That's Dragonite dead, and now he can just spam Moonblast forever. My Covenant can't touch it. So over here, I decide there is another way left. I'll try to get the body press crit, which I do get. Maybe that puts him in Baxcalibur Ice Shard crit range. I know this sounds incredible, double crit, but that's the only remaining way, and I'm gonna go for it. And after that, I have to crit the Earthquake versus King Gambit, and I have to crit basically every turn, because his Landorus will try to Intimidate spam me. But once again, it's a low probability, but it's a probability, so I'll go for it. I body press for the chip. I get the crit, which I needed. Then I go for the Ice Shard. I don't get the crit, and it's game. So no, I know I probably spoke like a lot during this video. I wanted to keep this as jam-packed as possible, and sadly I lost. I was incredibly sad as I lost, because I lost on $500, which sucks, but it is what it is. Overall, I liked my tournament run here. I didn't cover the other games because the video would have been gone too long, and I didn't want this video to be that long. And yeah, be sure to join the Discord server of this tournament. Let them know I sent you there, and see you guys later.